So the reason why your serve is the most important part of your game, or at least one of the most important parts of your game, is because if you can't hold your serve, you're not going to be able to win a set. So I want to go through 3 things that I think can really help you improve your serve and your serve mechanics. First thing I want to compare serving to is like pitching, or if you see a quarterback. The same motion they use to throw the ball, whether it be a football or baseball, is the same mechanics that you want to be using on your serve. So we're going to go over 3 huge areas that you need to work on to make sure you have a great serve. So the first area we're going to talk about is what I call the coil. Whether you're watching a football player or a baseball pitcher, the first thing you see them do when they go back is start the coil. So what is the coil? The coil is where we get in a position where we're coiling our shoulder against our hip. You see great football players or quarterbacks do this, and great pitchers do this. We also do this when we're coiling to hit a forehand. The difference is we're coiling back our shoulders, looking over, so we can make sure we get that throwing motion. So what are the keys to the coil? The keys to the coil are making sure, first of all, we're going to stand up and we're going to twist our shoulders back. You can see my chin's over my shoulder. By having my chin over my shoulder, it allows me to coil my core area. Now the key down here is that as I pull back, I don't want my hips to follow. I want to push my hips against my shoulder, meaning my hips are facing this direction, but my shoulders are facing this direction. That creates a great coil. And if you have a great coil, now you can use that power to throw. Second tip we want to talk about is how you position your elbow. This is a little bit more particular to the serve mechanics, but you see the same thing in pitching, how the elbow is nice and high, or if you're quarterback, how the elbow is nice and high. Now, how does this relate to your serve? Well, if you have your elbow down here, it's going to interrupt that motion, okay? And if you don't have a clean motion on your serve, it's going to take away from some of the power and consistency and placement that you can have on your serve. So what do we want to do? First of all, we want to start with getting our elbow up. By getting our elbow up, it's going to allow us to really use the rest of our body to uncoil and throw. If you have your elbow down now, you're going to notice how this all shuts down. There's no motion here that I can use to throw and get power, placement, and consistency on my serve. So make sure we're starting with our elbow up, we're pushing back with the coil and keeping that elbow up so we can throw and release. The third tip that I think is really important is what I call the release. The release is basically keeping your arm nice and loose. Now we've talked about getting the elbow up. Now you can throw and have a very stiff elbow, but what's going to happen is your release is going to be very stiff. We don't want that. I think of the serve as almost like a whip. You want to have that nice fluid motion at the end, release the ball. Just like you see a pitcher when they're winding up and you see that release. Just like you see a quarterback when they're winding up and you see that nice release. And what the release is keeping your elbow up and having this nice, what I call lag motion. When I start to swing or when I start to pull my shoulder forward, you're going to see my elbow go back and then release forward. By having my elbow go back and release forward, it creates a whip-like action that now at the end of my release of the ball is going to put all that energy into it. So you're saying, how does this relate to my serve? Well, these are all the basic mechanics that you want to have a great serve. And I'm going to demonstrate that in a little bit. Now, one bonus key that you got to understand is when we're serving, you're not actually throwing the ball forward, okay? We're throwing the ball up. So the key to remember when we're starting to put this together to have a great serve is that we want to be throwing up and not forward. When we're throwing the ball, we're going straight up. So, how does this work? Again, I'm going to go through all of the mechanics. Start with my racket, and we're going to get the racket up, and you see how my elbow's up, and I'm going to push my hips out to throw up on the ball and make contact. So watch me go through a couple of these serves so you can see exactly the right mechanics that you can use to improve your serve. If you improve all 3 of these, I guarantee your serve is going to get that much better.
If you like this video and like more videos just like it, make sure you come on over to servedomination.com to receive more great instructional free videos just like these.